are going. Well, I tell you a while ago about the shooting. We're going in near Cuba there. At the Cuba, them now ramp, you know. you think when them now go vex about that? Yeah, because Island boy, them fire shot after and killed 4 people. That sound like what them would have do. Yeah, that sound like what them would have do. So we're going to see what's going to happen with that. So we see people them are going, you know, get no pay at all, you know, in a prison or you know, in a grave. Anyway, what they have with you? They have with you next Thursday. And we still see the plight of the people then as it relates to what is going on with the politics of the country. The politics of the country is not good. Not good at all. Too much different things are going on at the same time. You know, it affects everyone. It affects everyone. You need to figure it out. The people who put to figure it out. They want to make it worse. Yes, that'll make it worse. You know, as we are telling about how we see things about, and it's not supposed to go a certain way. The killing, of the panic still. The killing of the people them who, the police them say, pull gun at them so they have to defend themselves. I hear the Minister of National Security say something the other day on the next radio program. And I said, wait, what did them people, man? Him really say that? Him really say that? But when the radio announcer press him a little more, him really that's the way I say. Because him the announcer shock too. Him the announcer shock. So I don't know what is happening. If it's so them decide, say them going to take the thing. No judge and jury, nothing. Them just try a sentence, you write this so. I can't tell them people that look like that them I say. Yeah man, it look like that them I say. Judge, jury, sentence, death. And that it work out to. No trial in no courthouse. And when them hear that, which them could have hear it before, matter what the police them. That's why them do it. No trial, just kill them on them. It a come from the top brass, you know, top brass. We realize that now. No doubt about it, we realize it. Top brass I do it. Take the first break and come power. You know, so the music conference are going right then in New Kingston there, and we want to join Courtney Mack out by there to make him tell you what exactly is happening at this moment in time. Courtney?
Muta, thank you so much. Of course, once again, we welcome all the listeners who are locked in right now. I mean, we're at the Island Music Conference. Of course, it's day 2. Earlier on in our previous link, you'd have heard us making mention of some of the details that took place earlier on in the previous session. Of course, we saw Shaggy, who's the chairman of IMC, Island Music Conference, and he was a part of the panelists who were on stage, and of course, they were discussing like brands and so on as it relates to how important it is to market yourself and the brand that you have as an entertainer, or even as a producer, or even if it is that you are on the different platforms as it relates to, branding and being a creator and an influencer. But of course, right now, I must tell you that, I'm in the middle of a session that's happening right now where there's representatives from YouTube, there's representatives from Spotify, there's representatives from different platforms, including Apple Music and, so on, persons who would want to know a little bit more in terms of streaming numbers, and things that are gone viral, and as it relates to when it can be monetized and so on. I know several persons are keen on hearing exactly what's taking place. We have several entertainers who are in the building who are asking questions as it relates to their platforms, their Viva channels, and so on. We see the likes of TJ, who is currently asking the representatives from YouTube, a little situation as it relates to persons uploading music without his permission and so on. So they're actually, giving him some steps that he could take in regarding to moving forward to resolve that issue. Of course, earlier on, we would have seen, different points being mentioned, such as beyond the press release. And of course, we had several persons, who were part of this panel, talking about PR and public relations and so on, which is very important as it relates to, journalism, filmmaking, and of course, representing artists and, different influencers and persons who are involved in the culture. And of course, right now, I have one person with me, Samantha Wilson. Of course, she's a producer at Power 105 and also the producer at the Breakfast Club. Welcome to the microphone to Pirate FM.
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. All right. So I know a lot of persons were not able, especially in Radio Land, to hear exactly your presentation as it relates to PR and so on regarding to this session. Can you just enlighten the listeners who are listening right now about, some of the things that you guys discussed in that previous session?
Sure. So, for me, I'm not a publicist. Like you said, I'm a producer and a music director for a radio station. And my, positioning on the panel was to discuss with publicists what the best way to get the attention of the people that they're pitching their artists to and stuff. So I think it was a good conversation for the publicists and the artists who are in the audience, because now they're able to fine tune their strategy, not just as a publicist or a representative, but how they're going to cut through to get to the journalists and the radio stations and the DJs. So I think it was a good conversation. It was very full circle.
Awesome. Awesome. What is your take of the Island Music Conference as it relates to, being here this year and being a part of the panel, and of course, your observation overall?
I love it. This is my first year.
Yes.
I think it is very necessary, because even before I worked in the industry, just as a fan of music, because I'm Guyanese and I'm just very involved in the Caribbean and African music and all the other great music that there is to offer in the world. And one thing that I always was curious about was how big these artists are as far as like reggae and soca, and could have huge records and not or have the right direction. So I think what they're doing with IMC and putting this conference together and giving you guys the information that's necessary to be able to cut through and understand the business side of everything. Like I said, it's very necessary, and I think it's wonderful. If you haven't had the opportunity to come, I think you should, and I'm hoping that they have me come again and again.
Repeatedly. All right, tell us about you doing. So what's a typical day like for you? Being the producer at the Breakfast Club and so on.
So for me, I wake up very early in the morning because the Breakfast Club, if the name doesn't already tell, it's a morning show. And we are nationally syndicated, so we don't just cater to New York. We cater to over 100 markets throughout the U.S. And we also have markets, I think, in Canada now. We recently became a Netflix show. So we have a lot to make sure we get done before the show actually starts. The show starts at 6 a.m. So I get up and I go about my day in doing that. And that's, working with our talent to make sure they have everything they need to get the show going and done properly. I do the lead research for any of the people that we're interviewing. So to make sure that they're equipped with whatever information they need during the show and with whoever they're going to speak to. And once that is done, that's when I pivot into the music director role, which is an executive role for the station on the whole. So then that's when I start dealing with record labels and artists and listening to music and seeing what's coming down the pipeline. And we plan our events and our shows and all that stuff. And that's what the second half of my day entails.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. All right. I mean, as you know, that's an international, platform. And of course, oftentimes we see our local entertainers being a part of that show as well as it relates to, I mean, whenever they're in New York City, I mean, it's one of those stops we see like Sean Paul and several other international, like Shaggy, among others. Is it that, in recent times we're seeing where a lot more Jamaican dancehall and by extension reggae music is a little bit more publicly aware as it relates to in the New York space and iHeartRadio?
So I think for New York, we're a special market because we're such a melting pot and we have a little bit of everything there. So I can't say that it's become a bigger thing for us, but what I do see is the growth in other parts of the country, especially like, the West Coast and just other areas that probably don't have as much of a large Caribbean population who would have just naturally been listening to it, but actually getting the opportunity to be exposed to just newer markets and newer people. I do see the expansion in the States on a whole.
Awesome. Once again, thank you so much, Samantha Wilson. It was a pleasure to talk to you. And of course, I know you're going to be, getting it all comfortable and paying attention to some more stuff that's happening as it relates to the session.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
All right, awesome. So there you have it. Of course, you just heard Samantha Wilson. She's a producer at Power 105 and at the Breakfast Club as well. She was also part of the panelists earlier on when they were discussing the Beyond the Press. As you know, of course, I did mention that they spoke about what the brand is earlier on, and of course, telling entertainers how to, deal with their brand and treat their brand. Right now on stage, they're actually going to break into publishing, which, of course, dissects YouTube, TikTok, Apple Music, among many other things. And of course, like I said, Spice is here. We're seeing TJ. We're seeing several upcoming acts. We're seeing several persons making in and out as it relates to being a part of different sessions and so on. The questions are being raised, different concerns that persons have as it relates to music, how to earn money, how to do the right thing and make sure that, publishing and royalties and so on are sorted out. But overall, it's a wonderful vibe. It's day 2. As you know, we're at the Corley Auditorium. That's why we have to keep it on a level because, it is a little bit quiet inside the auditorium and persons are really paying attention. But overall, nice vibe at the Island Music Conference. Of course, from yesterday leading into February 28th, it's going to be an amazing time. And we invite all the persons to come on down right now, Corley Auditorium. Make it a date until we link up again at 4:30. It's over back to you, Mutabaruka.
Yes, that was Courtney Mack over there at the conference, music conference, toward the auditorium. We're going to join him again, I think it's at 4:30. Yes, so 4:30 we're supposed to join him again. But meanwhile, we're going to take a break here, by the way. We want to tell you something before we forget ya. I don't know if I mentioned Tommy Ricketts. A lot of people that might not know him Tommy Ricketts, but the poets them know who name Tommy Ricketts because I'm used to for about 30 years now. Him have a poetry gathering in the Enamande school, in the amphitheater. And he has what you call it now, I don't want to say boss, but him give exposure to a lot of young poets over the years through that gathering. Because sometimes him include poets that is well known, poets from abroad and all these things. Well, the brethren dead. Simply, the brethren passed away. Day before yesterday, him passed away. For those of you who know him. Tommy Ricketts passed away. So I don't know how that gathering going to happen again or go again. But the brethren did a good and wonderful work over the years to expose poetry to people who maybe write something and don't know how people are going to hear it. Him give you the platform to really expose it. Yes, a whole heap of poets right now you hear at the poetry readers and thing. Start out going to the amphitheater at the Enamande school every last Tuesday of every month. For I think 30 years. Yeah, for 30 years, he might do it. Every last Tuesday for 30 years, he might do it. Well, him do him work, and him gone. And we give thanks for the brethren was able to do what him do. And we hope that the ones them who come through that experience, the Porsche society, will be able to expose themselves and others in that artistic expression of poetry. Okay. So now, rain start fall. Rain start fall, believe you me.
I'm Marlene Freeman with the local and international headlines. The police are seeking the public's assistance in locating a man who is wanted in relation to several outstanding traffic tickets. He is Damien Boudy. His last known addresses are Nelson Road, Maxfield Avenue, Kingston, and Brunswick Avenue, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The police say Boudy is known to operate a Hackney carriage taxi in downtown Kingston. Damien Boudy is asked to surrender to the Ellison Road Police immediately. Anyone knowing his whereabouts is asked to contact the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, at 876-928-1162. The Universal Fund Service Fund, USF, is employing a hybrid approach utilizing both traditional as well as satellite and solar technology solutions to restore community and public Wi-Fi sites that were damaged or destroyed during Hurricane Melissa. Chief Executive Officer Charlton McFarlane noted that the objective is to make the USF's Wi-Fi infrastructure more resilient to future extreme weather events. He pointed out that the October 2025 hurricane exposed a lot of vulnerabilities in the system. Mr. McFarlane revealed that over 400 sites in total, comprising of community Wi-Fi and also public Wi-Fi, mostly in western parishes, were affected. He stated that post-hurricane, the USF deployed Starlink satellite-based internet systems to provide immediate broadband coverage in key communities in western Jamaica. The CEO also expressed that solar solutions were used to power satellite technology. As at February 11, a total of 140 sites have been restored using a mix of traditional and satellite or solar solutions. Mr. McFarlane noted that as restoration continues, the intention is to employ an hybrid approach where appropriate. In news overseas, the top Democrat on the Congressional Committee investigating Jeffrey Epstein has accused the United States Justice Department of withholding files containing allegations of sexual abuse of a minor made against President Donald Trump. The BBC reports that Robert Garcia, who sits on the House Oversight Committee, said he viewed documents containing the allegation that had not been made public. In response, the Justice Department said nothing has been deleted, adding that documents withheld only if they were duplicates, privileged, or part of an ongoing federal investigation. Trump has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing in relation to the Epstein case and has recently said he has been totally exonerated. The Justice Department previously said that some of the files contain untrue and sensationalist claims against President Trump. Finally, police in Kenya have charged a man accused of luring young men to Russia with job opportunities only for them to end up fighting in Ukraine. State prosecutors said head of recruitment agency Global Faces Human Resources, 33-year-old Festus Omwamba, reportedly recruited 22 Kenyans for the purpose of exploitation by means of deception. According to the BBC, the victims were rescued last September from an apartment complex in Athi River, a town near the capital, Nairobi, before they could travel to Russia. However, 3 others had already left Kenya, finding themselves on the front line of the war and returning home with injuries, the prosecutors added. Onwamba pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. A total of 1,000 Kenyans have reportedly been recruited to fight for Russians in its 4-year war against Ukraine.
concerns of slavery. We come still stay here, so, and there, so, and we have the big gun them. How slave have so much gun? Police a slave picnic, soldier a slave picnic, security force a slave picnic, and the youth them with them called shatters in the ghetto, a slave picnic. And yet a slave master alone used to have gun to keep slave in order when colonialism was in its prime stages. So how come so much slave have so much gun, and yet we are taking a shoot down one another? The party where a shoot down one another. And the Triple P party, they talk about PMP party and JLP party. They talk about the PPP party, where it's poor people picnic party. How come so much poor people picnic and shoot down and kill one another, and yet the gun them where we have a slave master give it them, and yet slave master use them same gun them to keep we in order, and now give it them for do it. We shoot down another, we be take it and liberate one another. With the same struggle with Bogle and Nanny and Kojo and William Gardner and Marcus Garvey and all them people struggle to make we liberal. And that we fi deal with the gun them, because them man they never did have no gun, and them did use them mouth, and yet as we gun them in the face with just them mouth. See, and now we have gun for face gun, and we are taking that and shoot down with little granny and with little sister 2 months old. How that? How kind of thing that? How the struggle with black people have? Where Bob Marley sing bout? Where all kind of people come dead bout? How come we black people sit down and I take all them things from the so-called politician them, where them dead appointed and elected to take care of our welfare and well-being and make Jamaica people?
Well, I tell you, we have to go to a break, but we have to compare with it. We have to go to a break.
Them man they never did have no gun, and them did use them mouth, and yet as we gun them in the face with just them mouth. See, and now we have gun for face gun, and we are taking that and shoot down with little granny and with little sister 2 months old. How that? How kind of thing that? How the struggle with black people have? Where Bob Marley sing bout? Where all kind of people come dead bout? How come we black people sit down and I take all them things from the so-called politician them, where them dead appointed and elected to take care of our welfare and well-being and make Jamaica people look good? Our people will look good because we know we look good. And we struggle to look good. And we struggle hard to send people them go to school. For them come out, come look good. And all them come turn us be a go-go and shatter. How we are going here? How we are going to jam rock ya? Them things that we go with. A time for revolution now. Because if it not happen now, it not going to happen. And we out there kill one another with this big dirty gun. Them carry gun come get hungry out. A hungry man is an angry man. So when a hungry man have a gun, you think you can talk to him. You think you can run joke with him. And yet them know say in the ghetto appear hungry youth, and them bring be a big gun come give the hungry youth them. You think the people where do them thing there no know what the outcome of that gonna be. So all you mean talk about crime and gun crime. You have guy with plan and I eat the fruit thereof, cause them don't tell you say crime does not pay. But yet we come here now say crime pay. Pay who? Yeah, pay Madden. Cause right now it's coming like gun sign contract with Madden. You understand? And who it no kill, it fatten. And the gun seed of them boy a plan. It come like everyone take time adopt this gun fever thing. Because politicians start bring gun in Jamaica and in your same little brother get gunned down, and him have 2 more little brother, and him would want to feel like them 2 little brother might go get gunned down too. So him get so scared through the gun thing so prevalent, and him a lose him little brother them. It look like him set up to lose them. Him a go try bring something now to come give him little brother now. He claim say him a go give him little brother something to protect him. When him do that and gone back and find him, you say him little brother dead again, and next one dead, or him gone to jail to shoot a man and they are prison, and him have to come back now with liar and burial, and you understand? So no follow them boy when come plant them guns say. You understand? Better you construct your little brethren and bring things come give him occupy him time and make him stay home and stay in. Bring a computer, bring some kind of constructive thing. If you make him involved so much that no gun thing can't bother coming out, I will say you can't save him. You can't bring no gun come give him say well boy you gotta protect him. Because you don't know. And all the while him can't have it, time him not have it. A judgment, and if them know say him have it, them don't want to see him with it. Them go want to come kill him same way. So no follow them politician boy. You understand? Because so them set it. Because when you feel like you protect your little brother, you're going to put yourself in a more problem. Because you're run up and down now. When the repercussions and them things they go on, when you go bring things come give man, all the rest of big things will happen through that. Are you now? Them no business with nobody. Them gonna set it up and left it, sir. Where every man start kill every man. Imagine, me and you grow as brethren. Me and you never war it, me and you never have nothing yet. But yet me and your son can't agree. Because of some borderline thing and some gun to gun so prevalent. That your son are gonna shoot my son. And me and you have to go on my son burial. And my son shoot your son. And me and you have to go on your son burial. Because me and you are still friends. So me and your son can't be friends. All them kind of things that the man them come set up on we. So man have to be careful and don't make them set you up and make you bring things nowhere. Come give no one. God them responsible for everything we come here. God them never start it. It will not barrier yourself and with future little brother and sister and pick them out of this nothing and you want so much. That will go away. I know me know say them politicians don't love Jamaica people. None at all. Them prove it like everywhere. Because when the people vote for them, it's the majority vote. Make them win the election. Not a minority vote. But majority of the people who give them the majority vote is not staunch labor right or staunch PNP. It's people who will go from left to right because them is not satisfied with the administration of the government in power and so they will switch. So the politicians don't really love the people them. Because them know so them switch on them when them ready and get them out. And then now when them vote them back in, them use back that on the same majority they are going to cater for them like staunch people. That even all of them staunch people need. I'm going to some of them. I mean no staunch labor right and PNP will suffer when them party in a power and them know what I talk about.
Bonnie Wheeler, late great Bonnie Wheeler, venting in frustration. And only those who know say the proliferation of gun in Jamaica was started by the politician them. Yes. And now them open the gate and them can't close it back. And because them can't close it back now, them start kill off the youth them. Yes. A politician start the gun thing in Jamaica without a doubt. And now the youth them get them own gun you know and politician can't stop it, so the only alternative is to just kill them. That is where it reach. That is where it reach. And the youth them feel know that. It's a planting. And then something just come out of the sky when you hear 40 youth get killed by police since the year start. I don't know of no other country where that happen unless a country at war. I don't know no other country where police kill 40 people in a 2 month. Or 200 people. A little island what 3 million? 3 million people in Jamaica. Last year 200 and odd people get killed by police. What is? What is?
The 70s gunmen Lee Kingston. From West Kingston straight to East Kingston, work for PMP and Labour right, the Beast Kingston. 1980 there was no Peace Kingston. Mama ban her belly and say, please Kingston, the amount of blood we are running in your street Kingston. Politics selection come deceive Kingston. And when them shoot Bob Marley, Rasta grief Kingston. The city full of murderers and thief Kingston. Could not control by your soldiers nor police Kingston. So you hand it to Dodos and Zeeks Kingston. I saw the Valley matches lane sign Peace Kingston. Mad now get no more body for free Kingston. Meet me keep said the Dan them breach Kingston. Get rid of Dodos and Zeeks Kingston. I saw this big incursion come reach Kingston. Spanish Town have you seen blasted disease Kingston. And maybe you catch your symptoms when you sneeze Kingston. Westmoreland Farmerton gunman enough food now reach Kingston. Clarendon say give thanks to the badness them achieve Kingston. Linstead full of your nephew and your niece Kingston. But any day I hear say ISIS lease Kingston, I just pack my bags and leave Kingston. So after them get rid of Dodos and Zeeks Kingston, crime rate gone back sky high Kingston. Man a dead be a face and dry eye Kingston. So them want set up Titiman and Fry eye Kingston. So the citizens take the government and the gunman to court and try Kingston. And the witness get up and says PMP and Labour right make tourists deny Kingston. So the judge charge them for alibi and samfy Kingston. They must hang by them jacket and them tie Kingston. Worse them working for the CIA and the FBI Kingston.
For that,
alright, now me I tell her the
you better know that. And them youth we are shoot out the place never ban yet. Whole heap of them never ban yet. But it's a filter down. Filter down. Yeah, Peter Tasha talk about you can't blame the youth them. You teach the youth about Columbus and Marco Polo and them something there. You know, every Christmas come you buy a little tie gun and them sitting there. Well, I want the ones them know, all them little youth have fire gun about the place. The gun shooting and the gun killing going to get on the dead according to the Minister of National Security. The man them doing no courthouse business. You understand what I'm saying? I will say it every week, you know. I will say it every week. Because we know how it start. We know how the things start from them time there. Anybody when I'm my age or little younger, not even my age, little younger, know is who start the gun thing in Jamaica. Yes, we know. And the cancer there still no cure. It does sting there nya in a way. And can't come out. So when you hear them tell you about how much crime gone down and gun this gone down and gone down, they must solve them own crime. And them own crime they must solve, but guess what? None of them now got jail. None of them not going to jail. All you hear the whole heap of gun, this and the whole heap of that and that. One man, them find, them charge him for money we're missing and this and that and missing. And them still have yard for a couple of years now. Couple of years now, still I live him life. Comfortable. And now I'm going to court. Watch your man. Some of them going dead and you still don't hear nothing more about it. Yes. All them things when you see them I try to tell you, say, you know, quote this and quote that. The court set up a certain way for save certain people. Yeah. When the trial date is set for 2 years' time, 3 years' time, it's set. While a little youth in that prison 10, 20 years and have a chance to come out. It's a wicked system. Wicked. Anyway, you know, at 4 o'clock we have the People's Court. Want to know if it's ready down there. Oh, we stay down there. Nothing. we have 2 liars today. And that's how the program reach now. 2 liars. And the reason is around owning land, which is something we are talking about all the while on this program. Owning land and regularizing all common law titles. All common law titles. We want the liar them speak to it. And now I go butt in for nothing. I don't want butt in because by the time they start talking, you're going to hear say I come. By the time they start talking again, you hear say I come again. And I'm going to ask them nothing. The question, the title is obvious. Owning land and regularizing all common law titles. Good afternoon, Miss Archer.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Muta. And good afternoon to your listeners.
Clinton Campbell. All right, now you know. Miss Archer, I tell you,
yes.
Say, I'm glad when me hear you person that come talk, you know. Yeah,
you have 2 of us here from the firm.
Yeah, me know, but I like you say some others was going to come. Anyway, currently the managing director, our partner of Archer Cummins and Company, a law firm that has been in existence since 1996, with offices in Kingston and Draxall. She has over 39 years of practice of law. Her specialties are contracts, corporate, commercial, real estate, and entertainment law. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Economics from Howard University and a Juris Doctor degree from, if you talk out this thing, I will now get to talk to her, I don't want to call out all of them, so trust me. I could mention the version. Clinton Campbell.
You can edit it. Feel free.
Yeah.
Free to edit it.
Clinton Campbell is a highly accomplished attorney of law who was admitted to the Jamaican bar in 2014 and began his legal career with Archer, Cummins and Company as an associate attorney at law. Now I decided I'm not going to say nothing, I just want the two of you just deal with this topic here, owning land and regularizing all common law title, which is one of the main things that is in courts today. All time law, land, and how you deal with owning land. So I don't know which one you first want to start, but I'm going to shut my mouth and listen.
All right. So, Muta, let's start by saying that for this process, buying land, owning land, you need a lawyer, okay? It's the single most expensive thing you'll ever purchase. It's probably always higher than the cost of a vehicle you will buy. And so usually even when you're buying a used car, you have a mechanic go with you to look over the vehicle to make sure it's roadworthy or, worthy of your purchase. You need an attorney to deal with this process, all right? So people try to manage it, but it's very tedious and it involves very many things that we're trained to do. And if you don't have the training, you're going to be doing things for a long time to get the results you want. So that's number one, hire an attorney. Number two, you will also, if you have a common law title, you're walking around with a survey pre-check plan to show that this is the family land your family have owned all these years and you have lived on. That is not a title. It's a pre-check plan of the family land. And that pre-check plan is only valid for 10 years. After that, you must have it redone. So, people continuously do pre-check plans, walk around with it, but you can't use it as security for a loan. It cannot be, it only shows proof that is the area of your family land. So how do we know go from a common law title, which may be in a old common law that traces the lineage of the title, or from a pre-check plan that a person may have to an actual title? For one, you're probably going to update the pre-check plan. And for two, the attorneys, you visit an attorney, and we will prepare what's called the first registration documentation. We obtain statutory declarations from people in the area that can support your ownership. And that is filed as an application to the National Land Agency. So that starts the process. If you want to add?
How long it usually takes to do these things?
The surveying process, it's surveyed, and it also is filed at the parish council or survey department of the National Land Agency, and that process can take 6 to 9 months. The legal side can take 6 to 9 months too. So it involves a process. For first registration of family land, we must trace the lineage of the title. So it's literally going to be doing an application that says it was first owned in 1922 by my great-grandfather who was in possession of the land. He died and left it to my father, and my father is now in possession in the land. My father's been on that land and that's been undisturbed in his possession of that land.
So, all right, look here. It's unusual when you do all what you're supposed to do and you go to the title office.
Yeah.
Why them take so long to give people the title? Why the title
because there's
take so
a
long?
check-in process that goes on. You know, there's a check-in process that must go. They must be able to verify the veracity of these declarations that are prepared, of the application that is prepared against. They probably have an old land valuation that was the basis of it being on the tax roll, and those things are cross-checked. The pre-check plan is cross-checked with what they have at survey department. So there is a process involved.
Okay. Mr. Campbell.
Yes, and it's very important that you have a title, muta, and that you register your land. And not only register it and keep the title locked up in a drawer somewhere in a room in your house, because you can lose it. There is a principle in law which is known as adverse possession, and it is a principle which exists to ensure that lands aren't there unoccupied and not being used. So if someone occupies your land, regardless of you having a title, and they occupy it with the intention to dispossess you for a period of 12 or more years, you can lose your ownership of that particular land.
And so muta,
what they do to make you lose
since
it?
he's gone on to that issue, that is called possessing land, but through a tax lien. In the U.S., you can buy somebody's tax lien, that is money they owe the government for taxes on their property, or the state for property taxes, and then become the owner of the land. In Jamaica, if I pay your property taxes for 12 years and you have not paid it, you can be dispossessed. And so it's not necessarily people going and squatting on their land and taking it. It's not always the case. That does happen too. However, it's also doing what's called adverse possessing you because of your failure to pay your property taxes.
So
and that's something the attorney has to exhibit to the titles office to show that I have dispossessed you. So one way of the one issue is having family land that is not registered, and there's the other issue of being possession of land that is not family land, but I've been paying the taxes for the premises over 12 years. And 12 years is the magical number.
When you pay the tax for 12 years, and somebody come and say, where you do for my land, and you show them the thing that you was paying at 12 years, that's the end of you and your land?
No.
That's how it works?
Someone being in possession of the land for 12 or more years and exhibiting traits of ownership, such as paying the taxes, building something on it, they still have to apply to regularize that title. What the principle of adverse possession makes clear is that it is a defense against anyone who comes to try and take over that land, including the title holder. So
what would you have to show, say, even though they must pay the tax of your land, what would you have to show?
As the title holder or as the possessor?
No, the person who did have the land and somebody come and occupy the land for 12 years and shows that they must pay the tax. What would the person who did the first owner, what would they have to have for sure, say, is for them land?
Okay. Well, if they have a title, that's one. Two, if they have an agreement or some other permissive instrument that says they are the ones who gave permission, because you can't adversely possess a property if you were given permission to occupy that property. So
once
the title code, I didn't hear you, Muta.
If I want piece of land and somebody come occupy it for 12 years and pay the tax on it, and I come from foreign and I say, why you want to say, true to circumstances, I never get to come back to Jamaica, and my granny did leave the land there for me for much years and I couldn't come feed. Now I come feed and you are telling me, say, you pay a tax on it, so your land. So I say, no, what is it? What you would, can you recommend anything to the person who come from finance to the land and says to them parents' land? Them not have no title fee, because all people never used to have no title. What can be done?
Well, you can bring an action. You can, if you can trace the property ownership through the estate of your family member who had left the land. You can, once you have done a probate or letters of administration in that estate, if there was no will, you can then give notice to quit to the occupiers of the land. Now, if they remove from the premises, that would be the end of it. But if they then resist, you would have to take it to court. And if the adverse possessor gets an attorney and they file a defense to say that the ownership of your grandparents or whoever had left the land had extinguished because they were occupying it for 12 or more years with the mental requirement of dispossessing all the world, then you would have a hard time.
You have a hard time.
Very hard
like a
time.
goose cook.
Which is why I stress that having the title locked up or having the land unoccupied is a very risky move.
And Muta, I'll go further. If the adverse possessor who now has a title has sold the land to a purchaser for value, then you're goose cook for sure, because you wouldn't have an action against the purchaser for value. You can only get damages against the adverse possessor. So you've lost the land.
But you know, say old time people never have no title and nothing for no land. The land handed down from one generation to the next generation.
Yes,
and no,
what they had though, Muta, was possession, and possession is key.
So, where's the possession? What you mean? You mean 12 years?
All right. Them
years?
Being in possession, they can prevent any other person from coming onto the land. And so there wouldn't be any squatter in the first place.
Even if them never they have Jamaica?
Well, they have family members who they leave in possession, who will look over it and ensure that nobody comes and settles on it unless they are permitted to do so.
Look at Mr. Campbell, Mr. Hatcher. I'm surrounded by land right now where the owner dead gone left it. And a whole heap of the land them no have no legal what you call paperworks. A granny left that piece of land how much years now before you born. And now you come from foreign and you say you go settle Jamaica. And you go look on the land and you see people build 2-story house on it with them family and all them someday and say them pay taxes. You do have no papers for it, but you know say at this land here, I don't know how that can rectify. You have to tell me exactly how that will rectify. When you find this land thing. Mr. Archer?
Yes.
All right, I can put a scenario to you. You have, in Westmoreland right now, you see, a whole heap of house mash up. The people them house who mash up is where you say, them capture the land for 20 years, them depend on the land. Them not have no title for it and all them way there. The government come now and say, them have to go regularize. I don't know what them call regularize. Regularize the situation. So now, the people them house mash up, the land there, but now the government come and say, why them have to go start pay tax? How that go? Government.
You see, capture land and not paying taxes, you have an issue. It's not enough.
I know you have an issue, but
I put up a board shed on your land. I'm on the land, and I've been paying the taxes. That alone won't get the adverse possession.
Who pay the
taxes?
taxes?
Remember now, Muta, there's another issue we must raise. If the land is owned by the Commissioner of Lands, you would have to be in possession of that land for over 60 years to dispossess the Commissioner of Land. Any other government entity would be the usual 12 years. But for the Commissioner of Lands, it would be 60 years. So many people are on government land.
Yes. So what them do now?
Their ability to dispossess it would be 60 years.
I want to tell you, some of them depend for more than that because them granny dead and dead. And them come moving upon the same land. Yeah. So you can dispossess the government. That's what I said.
If they had gone to a lawyer, gotten a pre-check plan done for their area, and start the legal process to obtain a registered title, they would be way ahead of the game.
Yeah, but Miss B, look, man, them people there don't know nothing about, go to this a lie, forget that. Them know, so them come see them granny live on the land. Right. And them pick it up on the land. So now them come and go on the land, and hurricane lick down the whole thing. And now the government come and say, well, in a situation you're not going to have to start pay tax. I mean, them did more than 60 years. Because somebody going to tell you, say, yes, I'm a ban. I mean, nah, let's ya. And then them
the truth is, you can add ownership of a previous family member to your claim of adverse possession. So they can genuinely, but the issue is that they probably had not started the process at all, so they really have no title. So they probably never pay taxes for the things they occupied either.
So what going to happen to those people now?
They have to exert their rights, Muta. If it is they're saying that their family lineage has been on that land and has been on it, perhaps, as you say, for even more than the 60 years, then they have to resist anybody who come and try to put them off that land. And
no, the government to put them out. No, wait, let me speak, Mr. B. It's the government to put them off, so them have to go pay taxes. It's the government to do it. It's not.
You can't challenge the government. The courts are there for a reason. You can get an injunction against the government from interfering with your lawful occupation, which is you've been there for the requisite period with the intention to dispossess everyone, including the government. You get an injunction against them and you apply for your...
All right, I hope them are listening. I hope them listening because I know them are listening.
Yes, man. You don't have to bow down to the government when the government come and say it's their land. If you dispute that, you dispute it. And the best way to do that is to get an attorney to exert your rights.
Your adverse possession can be against the government too. It doesn't matter the entity. It's just that the number of years will change depending on who is the original owner or so-called owner on paper of the particular piece of land. So you can exert your rights against them. But you have to have everything else, information that, as to the lineage and that kind of thing.
Okay. You have to have the same name like the person who did it 60 years ago.
No, not same name. No.
Lineage, a genealogical search can be done.
Yeah, that's what I said. The name.
Yes.
Yeah, the name is part of the lineage.
Yes.
My name Hope, so my granny did name Hope too. Well, we give thanks for the information. There's so much things to say about it, but the time don't allow us to say it. The time don't allow us to say it. But if you have anything else to add, just add it now or forever hold your peace.
We'll hold our peace until next time.
I hope we shed some light on an issue though that is
yes.
very life before, many people's mind that, and it's not taking over people's land. You adversely possess because that person has abandoned their land. And if I pay your taxes, it's a tax lien. I now have the right to take over, and I fence it, I go on the land, I cut it, I bush it, I farm it, and my possession is open and notorious. Then I have a right to become the legal owner after being a beneficial owner of the premises for those 12 years.
And I said 12 years. Yeah.
12 years.
I can't pass the 12 years, and I tell the people in Westmoreland. I don't know Westmoreland the other day, and all that come up to the people them, and show them say I mean, or them I put them things there to me.
12 years, so yes. That's
the 6-year one me interested in.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes, thank you for
all the best,
coming.
and to your listeners too.
Yes, okay, all right.
Adios.
Adios. We got that for Spanish. Okay. Okay, so you know, we're going to give you the number. We're going to give you the 2 number them. That's in case you want some more information or you want to, carry some money to them and get your things properly done. Deborah Archer is 87. Yes. I take my God again. Believe you me. We're going to present the African names them coming up shortly. Believe you me, they take me off guard. So so much things are going on. Well, I tell you a while ago about the shooting we're going on near Cuba there. At Cuba them now ramp, you think when them now go vex about that? Yeah, because island boy them fire shot after and killed 4 people. That sound like what them would have do. Yeah, that sound like what them would have do. So we're going to see what going to happen with that. Because like no easy, and then we have to say them a gather up to go invade. Them a gather up to go invade where the country name Iran. That is another problem. The man them a say, look here, we have a whole heap of base in our area, And if we don't start anything, we now ramp a bomb up some of the base them. That them I say. So we're going to see what's going to happen right there so too. Okay, here we go. It's that time again when we deal with the African names. I think we never have it last week or the week before. So here we go. Female names. Adonai. Adunni. Adunni. Means sweet. Sweet. Adonai means sweet. Afafa. 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 A-F-A-A-F-A. Afafa means virtue. Afifa. Afifa. A-F-I-F-A. Afifa means virtuous. Akenke. Akenke. A-K-E-N-K-E. Akenke means precious daughter. So that's Adonai. A-D-U-N-N-I. Adonai means sweet. Afafa. A-F-A-A-F-A means virtue. Afifa. A-F-I-F-A means virtuous. Akenke. A-K-E-N-K-E. Akenke means precious daughter. Male. Akile. Akile. A-K-I-L-I. Akile. Akile means born strong. That's male name, born strong. Amar. Amar. A-M-A-R. Amar means long life. Long life. Amadi. Amadi. A-M-A-D-I. Amadi means one who stand tall. And Arifa, A-R-I-F-A, Arifa means knowledgeable. So that's Akili, A-K-I-L-I, means born strong. Amar, A-M-A-R, means long life. Amadi, A-M-A-D-I, means one who stand tall. And Arifa, A-R-I-F-A, Arifa, means knowledgeable. African names.
And now the details. United States Congressman Carlos Gimenez has warned that Jamaica will face consequences after Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness made remarks about the Cuba-USA tension. The USA had implemented measures to cut off Cuba's oil supply, which has affected other key sectors in the island, such as healthcare. Yesterday, the U.S. Treasury Department said it would authorize companies seeking license to sell Venezuelan oil to Cuba's private sector. Speaking at the regular meeting of Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM in St. Kitts and Nevis on Tuesday, before the USA's latest announcement, Dr. Holness said Jamaica supports constructive dialogue between the United States and Cuba aimed at de-escalation, reform, and stability. Dr. Holness, who is also leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, said the situation in Cuba must be addressed.
Friends, we must address the situation in Cuba with clarity and courage. Cuba is our Caribbean neighbor. Its doctors and teachers have served across our region. Its people are part of our shared history. But today, the Cuban people face severe economic hardship, energy shortages, and growing humanitarian strain. Jamaica is sensitive to the struggles of the Cuban people. Humanitarian suffering serves no one. Apart from our fraternal care and solidarity with the Cuban people, it must be clear that a prolonged crisis in Cuba will not remain confined to Cuba. It will affect migration, security, and economic stability across the Caribbean basin. It is therefore important that we carefully consider this matter and take collective action.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. In response, Mr. Gimenez, who represents Florida's 28th Congressional District, condemned Dr. Holness' statements. The congressman said he finds it lamentable that the Jamaica Labour Party would cover up what he called a dictatorship in Cuba when the Castro regime repeatedly intervened in Jamaica's politics to worsen partisan tensions and undermine the JLP. The congressman said Jamaica will face the consequences. He further stated that Caribbean countries should follow the lead of Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Kamala Prasad-Pasesa, who he claims has governed with moral clarity, strengthened her nation's alliance with the USA, and championed democracy in the region. Meanwhile, international relations expert Aaron Clare said he is not heavily perturbed by the recent statements by United States Congressman Carlos Gimenez. He said Jamaica will face the consequences following remarks made by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness about U.S.-Cuba relations. Dr. Holness was speaking at the regular meeting of Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM in St. Kitts and Nevis on Tuesday. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also attended the CARICOM meeting. Speaking with RFM News, Mr. Clare noted that considering that Secretary Rubio did not pass any remarks, he is not worried about the pronouncements made by Gimenez.
Whenever you have a congressional person who makes statements like that for any country, it can be problematic. But in the scheme of things, considering that the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, was just here in the Caribbean, would have heard what the Prime Minister of Jamaica said. In his remark, obviously, they made no reference or any opposition to. And in fact, when you consider that the United States government just recently eased up opportunities for Cuba to get humanitarian help in the form of oil sales to certain entities in Cuba. So I don't think there's anything harmful to any relationships. And so I'm not too perturbed about a congressman who primarily represents an area that has a lot of persons from Cuba who would have been very anti-Cuban regime as it is right now. And anything that would seek to give some kind of assurances or even support to Cuba, there'll be, again, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm more concerned with what Marco Rubio would have said than a congressman representing Miami.
Mr. Clare said he believes the Prime Minister's speech was diplomatic.
And then you look at the Prime Minister's statement, it's very diplomatic. I mean, I'm one of those who felt that the Prime Minister spoke eloquently on behalf of Jamaica's position and as it relates to Cuba. I don't think there's anything in there that says that it will be damaging to the United States.
International relations expert Aaron Clare. Chief Justice Brian Sykes says the sentencing of former Member of Parliament Jolene Silvera will be live-streamed. The Chief Justice made the disclosure during an engagement with the media this morning. Mr. Silvera was arrested and charged for the 2023 murder of his wife, Melissa. Earlier this month, he pleaded guilty to manslaughter, which was accepted by the court. He is to be sentenced next Friday, March 6. Mr. Silvera's trial was held in camera, meaning members of the public, including the media, were barred from observing the proceedings. During this morning's engagement, the Chief Justice was asked what would obtain for the sentencing. In response, Justice Sykes explained that the sentencing will be public as this part of the process is easier to manage.
Regarding the Jolene Silvera case, that will be a live stream sentencing. And why then? Because we are now at the point where it is just the sentencing that is left, and that process, it is easier to manage at this point than with the proceedings leading up to the entering of the plea of guilty.
Meantime, the Chief Justice has highlighted conditions at some of the island's courthouses in Western Jamaica post-Hurricane Melissa, noting the urgent need to ensure the public's access to justice. This was a major part of a renewed call for the judiciary to have greater control over its budget. Speaking today at a media engagement put on by the Court Administration Division, the Chief Justice noted that he has not seen any indication that the Justice Ministry has activated emergency procurement to have rehabilitation works undertaken.
So if you had 5 courtrooms and you're down to 1, and that 1 courtroom was now being used by the family court 2 days per week, the parish court 3 days per week, essentially you're adjourning matters because you're down from 3 judges in the parish court to sitting 3 days per week. So they can be trying cases, you're going to be putting off all the cases that were set down for that period. So too the family court. But yet, based upon the evidence now, the evidence is that there's no evidence of the emergency procurement process being activated for the court. So I'm not saying it wasn't done. It says a judge, and I can't say it wasn't done. I have to go by the evidence. There's no evidence of it because we don't see any work going on at the parish court even up to today. So we couldn't sit back and wait and hope that the Ministry of Justice gets its act together. So we are now repairing the family court, and we are seeing about converting a building down there so that the parish court can resume.
He pointed to the efforts being made by judges in Westmoreland.
So the judges are trying down in Westmoreland, so when they go down to the main court, the judge is sitting in his car, trying to attend to people that come and stand under the tent. And when the rain comes, court ends. This is down in, if you go down into Savannah Lamar by the court. So that imagination, this is what is happening. When they go up to Whitehorn, you're just putting off the cases. So as it stands now, until we complete the renovation of the family court, not much work is being done there. And so you have the additional cost now of travel to Hanover, where the economy of the parish is not yet generating pre-Melissa economic activity to say that these persons now have these additional sums.
Justice Sykes called for better funding for the judiciary to respond to natural disasters like Hurricane Melissa. Noting that 9 courthouses are located near coast, Justice Sykes said if another hurricane hits, the judiciary must have access to funds to effect its own response.
So my point is simply this. If the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa cannot activate emergency procurement procedures to carry out capital works, what will? That's the question, you know. What will? So the containers went down to Santa Cruz, but they weren't retrofitted containers. All these are facts. So you may draw your own conclusions. But my point is, I do not think, in light of all of this, there should really be any further debate as to whether the court should have greater access to resources to carry out its responsibilities.
Chief Justice Brian Sykes. There has been a noted improvement in bed capacity at the Accident and Emergency Department of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James following implementation of an enhanced plan. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton gave the update during a press briefing today. Among the actions being taken is the discharge of patients who are stable.
It has borne fruit, where even though A&E continues to require some additional work, it's nowhere near what it was 3 weeks ago. 2 + 3 weeks ago. Part of that has been the management of discharging stable patients and completing their treatment by reviewing daily at hospitals. So instead of keeping people in, once they are stabilized, we allow them to go home and we provide ongoing support, which could include them coming back on a daily basis if necessary, or every other day. And the doctors give them necessary support, but they sleep in their beds at nights and therefore not in a lounge or in a lounge chair or otherwise at the hospital.
He said ward areas have been built out with 5 of 7 spaces completed. This has seen the addition of 84 beds, significantly reducing overcrowding.
We've continued to build out the ward areas with 5 of 7 ward spaces now complete. That's further success. So we've added an additional 84 beds and we have returned maternity ward space to its full operations. And that's also very positive. If you would have seen those areas just after the storm, they were roofless, they were waterlogged. We had to take out the partitions. We had to root out the electricals that were corroded, and of course repair the roof, put in the ceilings and replace those things that we took out. And I'm happy to report, based on the reports I have, that those are back in operation.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. Kingston and St. Andrew will be water resilient and drought resistant in 18 months. Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change, Matthew Samuda, made the disclosure during a Leaders in Real Estate breakfast at the Pegasus Hotel in Kingston this morning. Mr. Samuda said his declaration is backed by a suite of solid investments already in motion. The water plant being established in Content St. Catherine is part of the Resilient and Resistant Strategy. The plant should begin operation in May 2027.
Kingston and St. Andrew, I'm prepared to say, will be water resilient and drought resistant in 18 months. So in February 2022, Jamaica experienced its worst drought. Kingston received in February 2022 18% of its 30-year average rainfall in its driest month. St. Mary received 8% of its 30-year rainfall. So that just gives you an idea of how chronic it was. And during that drought, Kingston, St. Andrew, Portmore and Spanish Town were short 12 million gallons a day in terms of demand relative to what we had available for supply. The plant that we're building in Content St. Catherine will supply to these areas 15 million gallons a day starting May 2027. So from a supply perspective, we have solved the supply challenge that this chunk of the corporate area, and I think of the corporate area as far larger than New Kingston and downtown, rather stretching across the parish boundaries. So we have solved the supply issue relative to what our current need is. If you think of all the development that has taken place in Kingston and St. Andrew, Portmore over the last 10 years, in your worst drought you were short 12 million gallons, and you have now found and developed a program that will supply 15 million gallons daily. So my statement is not far-fetched.
Despite all the work being done, the minister said Kingston and St. Andrew, as well as Portmore and St. Catherine, have non-revenue water of 40%. Non-revenue water is water that's either leaked or stolen. Mr. Samuda said the government is working with the World Bank to get a non-revenue water partner, and it is anticipated that a contractor will be appointed sometime this year.
NRW is non-revenue water, calculated simply by what you produce at your water treatment plants relative to what you're able to bill for. None of your businesses would survive 40% leakage. But this is coming from 72% in 2016. So today, with all of the high rises that you see in Kingston and St. Andrew uses approximately 10 million gallons less water today than it did in 2015. So we are on our path to water resilience in this part of the island. We are actively working with the World Bank to conclude a transaction position to get an NRW partner for the national program, and we expect to appoint contractor or contractors later this year. We will target an NRW nationally of 20%. Why I've chosen to highlight NRW to you? Because the first thing everyone says to me every single time you have a water lock-off, when you're building a new dam, and they're right, but there are steps that have to be taken before that. The economic modeling for a new reservoir or a new dam or a new storage capacity would be incredibly more expensive than it needs to be, because you'd be building much larger storage than you require, because you're leaking so much of your water after it leaves the dam or the reservoir. So that is why we must fix our distribution first, and we're actively doing so.
Water Minister Matthew Samuda. The National Water Commission says customers who were billed despite not receiving water before and after Hurricane Melissa will have their accounts adjusted. Acting Corporate Public Relations Manager Delano Williams made these statements at yesterday's meeting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee. He was responding to concerns raised about complaints from affected customers. Mr. Williams explained that the Commission will be treating with issues affecting metered customers whose supply was disrupted. He added that cases involving pipeline breaks will also be examined.
The customers impacted by water outages, we approach it in two ways. The metered customers, their meter reading will reconcile any charges that may have been estimated during the hurricane period when our teams were not out. We've also taken into consideration where there is a possible impact, for instance, by customers experiencing breaks, pipeline breaks, where water comes back. They may be not at home, the house was damaged, the property was damaged, but the water is now running to waste. And we have asked those customers, and will continue to publish, that we will offer a facility for those accounts to be examined and some kind of discretion be applied for cases such as those.
He says once verified, bills which were estimated despite the lack of supply will be written off.
The estimated ones, similarly, once we draw a line in terms of the period of estimate when it started and when water is restored to the communities. We've been talking a little bit about the worst impacted areas in Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and so on, St. Elizabeth. Once we are able to establish the restoration period, those accounts will also be written off in terms of any charges that were assessed post-Melissa and onward up to the time when water is restored.
He cautioned, however, that because adjustments require manual review, they may not appear on the first bill issued after supply is restored.
The adjustment process, for the benefit of all, while it's systematic, it also requires a manual review just to verify the period. And so they may not necessarily see it immediately on the first bill after water is restored.
NWC's Acting Corporate Public Relations Manager Delano Williams. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ has introduced two initiatives aimed at strengthening citizens' financial capability, expanding access, and building trust in the nation's financial system. Shanice Gibbs has more.
We're not just technocrats doing numbers, we're actually passionate about improving the welfare of Jamaicans.
That's the declaration from Bank of Jamaica's Head of Financial Inclusion Unit, Dr. Andre Murray, as the bank unveiled its televised series dubbed Common Sense with BOJ.
It's about transforming financial literacy from a concept into building life skills. Skills that will strengthen families, strengthen communities, and in the end, strengthen our nation. Common Sense with BOJ will take financial education directly into the living rooms, into the homes of every Jamaican. It will employ clear language, relatable stories, practical tips, and this series is aimed at helping citizens to navigate real-life financial decisions. It will move from budgeting, savings, managing credit, and using digital payment platforms safely and effectively.
He also noted that the series will seek to demystify various financial topics.
We want to demystify them really in the way that Jamaicans actually think about these topics. Speaking about issues of budgeting, savings, digital payments, credit management, and perhaps most importantly, we want to demystify some of the issues of consumer protection. So
They will reflect our commitment to ensure that financial knowledge is no longer just confined to textbooks and boardrooms, but becomes maybe even a regular conversation in the Jamaican household.
Dr. Morris said Intelligent Advertising Agency is responsible for developing and executing the video production series.
This collaboration has so far resulted in 10 infomercial videos, 2 promotional trailers, and teaser graphics for social media, and they will be starting running weekly, so we'll be launching videos weekly, and we hope to make this a very engaging series of infomercials.
Meanwhile, the bank is slated to launch an online financial educational game called Money Quest in April. Dr. Morris said the game, created through a partnership with Digital Technologies, will target students in grades 4 to 6 at the primary level. It will also incorporate aspects of the Primary Exit Profile PEP syllabus.
Money Quest will blend financial knowledge, academic concepts, and problem solving with adventure, and make the learning of these financial concepts fun, memorable, and actually curriculum aligned. So importantly, the PEP syllabus be incorporated in this game, so they won't just be wasting time playing the game. They'll actually be studying and using useful skills to pass the PEP and also build these life skills.
Head of the BOJ's Financial Inclusion Unit, Dr. Andre Murray. He was addressing the bank's quarterly press briefing in Kingston on Tuesday. Reporting for IRFM News, I'm Shanice Gibbs.
Accompanying Maroons in St. Elizabeth are being urged to be understanding and patient as it regards the holding of the 2026 election. There has been some contention about the polls, with some persons expressing concern about the delay. The election was constitutionally due on February 18. In a social media post today, Colonel Richard Curry again explained that Hurricane Melissa caused the delay and that the community is still recovering.
As you would have known, a compound was significantly affected by Hurricane Melissa in late October of 2025. Since then, it has significantly impacted the livelihoods of our communities, as many homes have been destroyed and many persons displaced. The enumeration process, which was set to begin in November of 2025, has since been subsequently delayed. And to date, we are now in the process of completing the establishment of the Electoral Committee and the assignment of the Electoral Office in order for a free and fair process to be unfolded. So I ask that the external and diaspora, as well as Maroons locally, appreciate the considerations that have been taken and put in place to ensure that the process still moves along.
He pointed out that as Colonel, he is responsible for calling the election.
Be reminded, the 2022 ratified Maroon Constitution outlines the process for the execution of such an important occasion in our communities. Candidates have been notified and the respective responses have been received. We await the Council and the Board of Elders in unrolling and unraveling the process that will be executed throughout the next few weeks. And we ask your patience as the Chief remains the person in charge as per Constitution and the one who will call the election. I thank you for your patience.
Accompanying Maroon Colonel Richard Curry. And with that story, we have come to the end of the local news.